Almost 5 years ago, on this very spot, we said I do.
And we figured what better way to celebrate than to look back on our honeymoon trip to Barr Harbor, Maine.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Amy.
And we are Camping Companions.
So with the music turned up loud and our plan in place, we head to our first stop on our trip to Portland, Maine.
We wanted to break it up into 2 days so we could drive the 8 hours to Portland, see everything there is to do there before making the final stretch to Barr Harbor.
And after a long day of driving, we finally arrived at the bed and breakfast, the Black Lantern, in Portland, Maine. The house was gorgeous, so cute, and the grounds were kept so meticulously well. We really loved staying at this Black Lantern bed and breakfast. They had a floating dock if you walk down the hill there, overlooking the water, the bridges. We sat out there and had a glass of wine and enjoyed watching the sunset.
Our first stop the next day, and my favorite, the Portland Headlight, the oldest lighthouse in Maine and the most photographed lighthouse in the United States. We stopped for lunch at the food truck, had a lobster roll overlooking the most beautiful scene ever.
And if you're in Portland anyway, you may as well stop off at the LL Bean headquarters. The campus is massive, there's many parking lots, they actually have a trolley to get you to the door.
Once we were done visiting LL Bean, we got back into the car and drove the 3 hours between Portland, Maine and Barr Harbor, Maine. We took Route 1, which is along the coast, and found ourselves in Freeport, Maine, where we heard about this place called the Deserts of Maine.
The desert is actually sand dunes located in the middle of a forest. Well worth the $10 price of admission for a guided tour. They take you around in a Jeep. It was really cool. We stopped for lunch at the Taste of Maine restaurant, one of the first of many where we had lobster.
Once we arrived, we checked into our cottage at Hutchins Cottages. We were on a budget, so it wasn't overly fancy. We just wanted some place where we could rest our head at night, maybe cook a meal for ourselves in the morning, and sit out on a screen porch with views overlooking Cadillac Mountain. One evening, we had a family of deer come walking through. That was really a nice treat to see. And at night, if you looked at the mountain, you could see the car headlights as they came driving down the road off the mountain.
A cool thing we found out is that there's a free bus that takes you all over the island. There was a bus stop right outside of the entrance to our cottages.
One of our first stops was to the visitor center so that we could pick up our Park Loop Road Pass. For $30 for a car, you can drive this 20-mile loop to see all the major attractions.
From there, we went to downtown Barr Harbor, where we got to see the iconic moose, see all the little shops, visit the different restaurants, and go to our favorite souvenir shop, which was a recommendation, Cool as a Moose. Oh my gosh, Cherry Stone's restaurant, they have lobster carbonara. We went back multiple times just for that. Hands down, best meal ever.
A couple doors down from Cherry Stone's is Barr Harbor Brewing. Stop in and have a taste. And when you're done with that, look around the town. There is beauty and nature everywhere you look. Along the shore in downtown Barr Harbor is a restaurant called The Reading Room. It's super pretty. And there's also the Shore Path, which is a hiking trail that follows along in front of the restaurant. Along the shore, you can see islands, you can hear the waves crash, and feel the breeze on your face.
The Travelin' Lobster. What looked like a little roadside shack turns out to be amazing full-service lobster dinner. You pick them out, they cook them, stick them in the little blue bin, and you take them to your table. You eat overlooking the nature. Loved it so much. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
And right next door is the Barr Harbor Wine Cellars tasting room. It was closing time, but they still let us have a taste.
Driving along the Park Loop Road, we ran into a little bit of a sprinkle, so we stopped on the side, tried to put the top up, and found out it had a little bit of an issue. We took a walk down by this creek, came back, worked just fine, kept on going. The Park Loop Road Pass is good for 7 days, so take advantage of every day of it. It takes you along the coast, you get to see the different beaches. The water is gorgeous.
This is the Sand Beach stop off Park Loop Road. We saw this and Thunder Hole on the same day. Thunder Hole is a natural grotto that has been made by the water eroding away the stone, which, when the seas are high, makes a loud, thunderous noise that sounds like a thunderclap. It's really something to see.
Barr Island Path is a natural footbridge only accessible at low tide. It takes you from the main island to the smaller island where you can go and explore, but make sure you come back, otherwise you're stuck there until the next low tide comes back around, which is about 12 hours.
There's just something about the New England charm that is everywhere you see. I like the vibrant colors, the buoys, and everything that makes it feel like you're on vacation.
And if the fog rolls in, sometimes it's so thick you can barely even see the lighthouse behind Amy's shoulder.
One of the days we went over to Tremont, Maine, and went on Island Cruises lobster tour. We decided we wanted to learn a little bit about lobster, the lobster fishing lifestyle. We wanted to see some seals, and we wanted to see Bass Head Lighthouse from the water.
We also took a tour from the land. It's easy to get to, right on the island, and it's well worth it if you're a lighthouse fan like we are.
There was a hiking trail near the lighthouse, and all you could smell was pine. It was wonderful.
Take the drive to the top of Cadillac Mountain. You can see the entire island from there. Stunning. It's the first place in the U.S. that the sun touches every single morning. When the fog rolls in, it almost looks like you're standing above the clouds. You really are.
It's not difficult to climb along Cadillac Mountain, but make sure you wear good shoes because it still is rugged terrain. You'll be happy you did when you can catch some of the views from this mountain.
Like what you've seen so far? Don't forget to check out our other videos, which we've linked below, like how we pick our spot. All along the coast, there's so many places you can just stop and pull over and take a hike down one of the many trails. You never know what you're gonna find, especially at low tide. We saw some really cool things like jellyfish. We found crab shells, little snails. It was just so neat, and you can just endlessly explore no matter where you go.
Of course, no trip would be complete without Kevin skipping rocks. It's something his father taught him, and since he has since passed away, it is a legacy that Kevin carries on.
Monhegan Island is 12 miles off the coast of Maine, and the population is less than 65 year-round. There's no paved roads, but there's 12 miles of hiking trails, and it was an awesome way to spend the afternoon. You've got the sunrises from Cadillac Mountain. Don't forget the sunsets. Anywhere you are on the island are stunning. Watching the sunset over the water, seeing the boats at night, it was so beautiful. Jordan Pond is not only known for their bubbles, the cool little mountains, but also the Jordan Pond House restaurant, which is famous for its popovers.
While we were out driving one day, we came across the shop that had wind spinners. And if I could have figured out how to fit one of those things in a convertible for the drive back, we would have come home with one.
One of the things we really wanted to do on this trip was to go on a whale watching tour. So we found a company that did it. They did whale watching and puffins. And if you don't know what a puffin is, we inserted a picture here. That's not our picture. Trying to get a picture of one of those birds in flight is almost impossible.
They guarantee you'll see whales. If not, they'll take you back out another time. Also, they take you out to the Mount Desert Rock Lighthouse, which is 20 miles south of the island. It's only 600 yards long and 200 yards wide. It's the highest point on there is only 20 feet above sea level. Crazy. If you've been to Barr Harbor and you think there's someplace we should go on our next trip, put it in the comments below. We are definitely going back and we want to explore as much as possible.
If you like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit that bell notification so that you get notified of every time we have a new video out.
And as always, happy camping.